My bad. I hit the top of the screen.
No problem. All right. Let's do it. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy with Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Saturday afternoon, night, evening, Saturday evening, on a Saturday evening. We're ready to do some feedback. This is where we talk about what y'all talked about throughout the week and the comments you left on our website, votes in the polls, whatever you sent us in the mail, voicemails if we got any, 5-star reviews, all of that stuff. We're gonna cover it today, and we're gonna, let you guys know that you're heard. We're listening. We love being heard, and we're all hearing each other. And it's just gonna be one good, happy, happy episode. And it comes a day after our 13th anniversary of doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like January 6th, before it was ruined as a date.
Right before it was ruined, we had it first. How dare y'all come and yank our holiday away from us?
They gentrified our anniversary.
They did. Oh,
So yeah, it's our podiversary. We started this January 6th, 2010, after many times trying to record that day and broken
that was
hardware.
in
And
many replacement computers and sound cards.
yeah, it's like we really did put the work in,
We was dedicated before we knew it, cause yeah, we had recorded like 4 or 5 times. By the time we got that first episode, it was like midnight. Niggas was tired.
yeah, and so the original January 6th uh
Right, the original January 6th.
was all us. So happy Insurrection Day or whatever. But yeah, so y'all know what we do. First thing we need to do is talk about the people that took the time out to give us money, because you don't have to do that. You can go to the website, theblackouttips.com, look on the right hand side, and some people just choose to donate to the show, to put something on it, to support us, and they don't get anything special for it other than this shout out I'm about to give them. So let's go ahead and get into that.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's Own, Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Yes, that's right. Today is a new afternoon for new doubloons. Let's talk about this money that we got. We got a one-time donation from Shannon Yu, who leaves a message. It says, I've been listening off and on to you good souls since 2013. Thanks for the deep thoughts, the puns, and the kindness. All right.
Thank
Thank you. Celebrating
Real
our
man off and
anniversary.
on.
We'll take the anniversary present.
Come on.
Derek L.W., Ken M., Linwood C., Lawrence C., no relation, Zach from Living Corporate Podcast, Tracy J., Dr. J., no relation to Tracy, Slang of Ages Podcast, aka my man Preston, Celeste VB. We got a brand new recurring donator, Adam S. Going to the new members class.
Mm-hmm.
Conrad left us a long time ago. So I don't know who's leading it now, but
I don't know. They must have voted and got a new president. They ain't told us who the president is yet.
Mariano A. You know what? I think Marvin B will be the new leader because he's been around forever.
Marvin B. Yes, Marvin B.
Marvin
you
B.
have been selected.
He the new leader of the new admissions.
The new members club.
Yeah. Monica T, Jason F, and Dorothea S, and lastly Tyrone M. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. We appreciate everybody that took the time out to donate. And yeah, we thank you. Let's get to this. Play me out, choir. Oh, we love to hear it. We did get 5-star reviews this time.
Let's go.
Let me go back to, let's see, our last episode was the day before it was New Year's Eve. So the 5-star review that we got, I believe we got one from the 29th that I don't think we got to read because it must not have came in.
Sometimes they don't post them quickly.
So we got 3. Take all my 5s from Renee K, who says, went through a virtual odyssey to leave this review, but Rod and Karen are worth it. I don't even use Apple except to do this. So that should tell you how special this podcast is to the world.
Oh.
They're incredibly funny, smart, and make the world a better place. Their voices are like a hug when you need it. Thank you, Rod and Karen. Thank you, Renee.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate you. We got another one that says, Happy New Year, Rod and Karen. This is from Sean Forever 98, who says, thank you for the holiday podcast. Y'all are the best. 2 purple heart emojis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Us and Veterans of War, we get purple hearts. That's what we do over here. We rack them up. But also, like, I appreciate that because, like I said, we recorded through the holidays on purpose, specifically because, you know, it's gonna be a time where people are without podcast. And, you know, we and you know, it was a time where we definitely could have taken off, and you know, we will be taking some time off shortly, but it was definitely a time we could have taken off. But it was like, you know what, man, I enjoy doing this. And it's a good, and then people get, you know, get a little content, get a little something to hold them over. So y'all welcome, and thank you for the review.
Thank you.
Lastly, this podcast has become a must from ... Brown Girl, who says, I have found myself listening to this podcast day and night. I fall asleep listening to it. I wake up listening as I get dressed for work daily. This podcast is informative, entertaining, and enlightening. Rob and Karen are a super couple, and you can't help but love them. I would recommend this podcast and have to anyone and everyone. Did I say I loved it? Yes, you did. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I never thought of people. I've had a couple people talk about how they listen to the show and they like fall asleep to the show and stuff like that. And I've never thought about it before. You say you fall asleep to it, wake up to it. Sometimes I do that with like albums. If I really like an album, I'll fall asleep thinking about it or listening to it, wake up listening to it. And so it made me think about that. Like, oh, we somebody's Renaissance. We somebody's control.
Somebody's, yes.
You know, we somebody's Good Kid, Mad City out here.
Good Kid, Mad City broke a record for being in the top 200 for like the last 10 years. That album is flames. It's probably because of me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I never get tired of listening to Good Kid, Mad City. You know, I was listening to a lot this week because sometimes I just think about music or something. It'll get stuck in my head, and I'm just like, I'm gonna listen to this. And his album Untitled Unmastered, the 8-track miniature album or whatever. I've just bumped that all week, and it just I appreciated it when it
I said levitate.
Yeah, and I appreciate it when it dropped, but it just felt like a lot of people, because they was anticipating getting a full album from him, and it was like, where's the album, Kendrick? Like, a lot of people didn't really give it the love that I think it deserved.
Right.
That album still goes.
Yes, it does.
So anyway, let's get into these episodes because we do have some. I think we did 4 episodes this week, and so we got 4 episodes worth of feedback to get to. Let me go ahead and play some little segue music so I know where to throw this commercial in here. Have I played that one before? That shit is hard.
That goes hard. I like that one.
That one's called, I believe, The Heart or Heart. It's called Heart too. Damn, infrared crypto. Beast. All right, but yeah, let's get to these episodes. Episode 2654 was called A Buttload of Fun, and it was our feedback episode. We had 4 comments on it. The first one is from
Appia.
Appia. That's correct, Karen.
Yes.
I heard about the fact that the opiates dependency is more common among white people in the US because they got them prescribed more because the pain that black people have wasn't taken seriously.
Right.
But strangely, by not prescribing them so much to black people, it prevented building opiates addiction among them. So the bad intentions prevented deaths in the long run. That's confusing. Again, I'm a white person in a country where almost no one gets opiates. Pain is seen more as a part of life. Well, that is the German way. When I was in labor with my second child, they literally suggested I walk to speed the process of opening the exit. Walk it off, Appia. I did it. I walked for an hour with Mr. Appia, came back, and the show started soon after. I could leave with the baby the next day.
Wow. One thing, Appia, you got to understand, Americans love drugs. Like, Americans, we love our drugs. Imported, exported. We're like one of the few countries who, when you turn on your TV, they like drugs. Talk to your doctor about these drugs. Something wrong with you? We got drugs. Like, in a lot of other countries, they don't do that. And it's racism because the white people said I'm hurt. And they was like, here you go. Black people say I'm hurt. They was like, you're not that hurt. We ain't giving it to you. And so, like, it's like the racism, quote unquote, worked for us this time, because if not, we'd have been just as strung out on it. And now, because of racism, they go, look at the poor whites, and they like the face of the of particularly opioids. And now, because this could be their family member, all of a sudden, we see caring and we see compassion and we see leniency and laws and things like that. But if they could find a way to make this be a quote unquote black or brown or other problem, they would and not give a fuck about it.
Yeah, the thing I would add is that I don't even think it's about bad intentions. It's just racism. Like, correct. I don't even think they thinking about us in a way of like, we better not give these blacks any drugs. Like, I think they just do, when you just fundamentally do not see people as equal to you, when they tell you they need something for their pain, you will jump to the worst conclusions. You will be like, this is a drug addict. And yeah, it's highly ironic that they made in a lab basically heroin that's more addictive than heroin, and then only gave it to white people because they're the only people whose pain is real. And now you do have white people who are addicts who embellish their pain to get this shit. And they're having to get, now I wonder if white people are getting some of the same skepticism that we get, warranted or unwarranted, of like, yeah, you're not really in pain. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how much that's happening, because when you hear people talk about their experiences in the hospital, I'm now, when I listen to a podcast, like I listen to Keith and Girl sometimes, and they'll be talking about, having to go to the hospital for something, and the hospital seems almost like, take these Tylenol. I don't know. Well, we would have gave you some Percocet last, 5 years ago, but now you could just be faking this so you could get some opioids. So it's just interesting to see it come full circle.
It's like an overcorrection now. Like, it's literally overcorrection. But the thing is, it's hard for them to know if you're on drugs or anything like that. For a lot of us, they just make the assumption. For a lot of white people, they see, oh, you good white person, here's some drugs. Regardless of if you've never had drugs in your life, they just assume you black and brown and other. You done something, and you're like, what? And that's when that racism kicks in.
Then Sean replied, in Japan, my father-in-law was on death's door, but they still would not prescribe opiates. If one has a month to live, you would think that addiction would not be that big of a consideration. Also, different story. My wife was at the point where she was near needing induction due to pregnancy complications. Same advice as Appia: take a walk. Took a midnight walk. The next morning, Kyle was born and peeing in the nurses' faces. This is a spectrum of analgesic and palliative options. Oh, there is. Okay, there's a spectrum of analgesic and palliative options. Sorry, I don't know those words. And opioids are actually rarely a good option for chronic conditions. They lead to increased pain perception and the chance of addiction, but for intense acute pain and or terminal care, restricting them can be more harmful. NSAIDs like Tylenol, ibuprofen, and loxaprofen have caps on the amount of pain they can mitigate. On the other hand, the best treatment for my cluster headaches, marijuana, and migraines, LSD, are illegal in Japan, which makes treatment more difficult. And Tanya says, "Oh my God, this episode title, I'm dead." um,
And also, was I put like this? I don't know if they would ever do a study or if there's a study out there. I want to see how many men request drugs and they give it to them versus women.
mhm.
And the reason why I asked is because like these two incidents, these are women that are fucking going through labor. Like something that I've talked to women that said this is the closest thing to dying that I have
Well,
ever
keep,
experienced in my life, and they were like, "No drugs for you."
keep in mind, you're talking about different countries. He's talking
Oh,
about
okay,
Japan, and she
okay,
was talking about Germany.
okay.
Also, I know there are rules about how much pain medication you can give somebody who's going through labor, because you don't want to affect the baby.
That makes
So
sense too. Okay.
it's not just a we don't believe you're in pain. I know they have like epidural, but I think like after epidural, I don't know that there's a thing after that where it's like, and here's some
That's true.
opioids, you know. Dizzy Lizzie Gal says, I too have thermostat trauma. My mom used to get on us for turning on the AC or the heater. It had to be extreme to cut either on, so I just left it alone and still do. It's cold. If it's cold inside, I put on the hoodie. Too hot, and I'm wearing tank tops and shorts with fans running.
So I don't be the only one to just be adjusting everything around me, but like, fuck it.
Yeah,
I
I
ain't the
think
only
it's.
traumatized child.
I guess there's two types of people. I'm a type of person that when my parents didn't let me use the thermostat, I was like, when I get old enough, I'm gonna be using it. And
Okay, right.
that was it for me. It wasn't no
Okay.
trauma. Like
There's people like you that go, I'm gonna learn fuck that one day. And I'm like, mm-mm.
the same thing with the dishwasher too. It was like, we don't need a dishwasher. You gonna wash the dishes. It was like the fuck I am when I'm grown. I'm gonna
Nah,
use the
nah.
machine.
Me and you, we on the same page. Fuck washing and drying them. Got it's called a motherfucking dishwasher. Bitch, wash dishes.
Yeah, well, I feel that way about the thermostat too. The poll was, oh wait, let me see if there's any comments on our YouTube real quick. I think there was one. Yeah, we got one comment from Sadia who just says Happy New Year's. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now back to the poll. Do you have thermostat related trauma resulting from your childhood? If so, you can join our class action lawsuit. But 34, 34.5% do, 65.5% do not.
You know what? I'm surprised this ain't an article in Black Mama Monthly. This right here would have been a great article for that magazine.
It might be, honestly. I just haven't looked at them covers in a while, but that might have been one of the things I put on the cover of Black
Don't
Mama
touch
Monthly.
my thermostat.
Yeah, the thermostat. I'm sure I had something about like outdoors. Are you trying to eat all of it or something like that? Spotify says, for those that don't know, man, just go go back and look at through our episode titles, and I'm sure one of the titles is Black Mama Monthly. So if you
Yes.
want around for that, please go check out that episode. I also have made I went and made like fake
cover.
fake magazine covers and put them on social media at the time. It was so fun. Oh man, what a time, man. I don't know the name of the episode right now. I mean the number of the episode, but I definitely remember talking about it on the on the podcast. So matter of fact, I'll try to Google it. But Black Mama Monthly was a time. Okay,
Come on.
Yeah, it was episode 1485. Damn, that's been since 2017 when I did that.
It's been some time ago.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, it was a great time. I think maybe that episode sparked the idea. But anyway, um, so yeah, the poll on Spotify 33% against 67%. So basically the same percentage. So this doesn't matter if you got money now or you don't. Trauma is
Don't
from
matter what group you're in.
trauma comes from your parents, not your tax bracket.
That's
Don't
true
mean your
now.
parents have money. Miss Barnes says Happy New Year to you. Oh, the comment was Happy New Year, you made it. Miss Barnes says Happy New Year to you and Karen. M. Nicole says Happy New Year. Toy says, woo, barely. Renee says we all made it. Well, everyone except Andrew Tate. I mean, he making it. Matter of fact, I feel like the year coming up about to be long as hell for him.
Ain't it though?
You know how you look up and be like, oh man, it's August already? He won't be feeling that way.
Mm-mm.
Jane says, Happy New Year to you, Rod, and Karen. Hope you had a wonderful, healthy, and peaceful New Year. Keep up the good work. Aaron says, New Year, new me. Raphael says, I just wanted to thank you guys for giving me my favorite content during the holiday season. I promise I was well behaved. Happy New Year to the best podcasters in the world. Y'all are awesome. Thank you.
Oh.
This looks like Key Taylor says, my cousin used to put on a tank top and shorts and then cut the heat to 85 degrees. My aunt threatened to beat the black off his kneecaps weekly. He was looking dangerous.
I know them bills was high. She was like, you ain't got to pay for this shit.
85. Woo.
Turn everybody up.
Keenan says, fuck 2022 and everything in it. Damn. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
A rough 2022. Glad 2022 over you, baby.
Yeah. All right. Episode 2655 was called Adult Friend Finder. And we had 9 comments. Oh my.
What did we talk about? Y'all
Y'all
had something
arguing
to
with
say.
each other. Well, how did this happen? Okay, well, the first one's from Apia, who says, Rod, your careful behavior is absolutely part of you not getting COVID, but there is more. You can work from home and you don't have kids. We got COVID last year from our small daycare attending child, as did many parents. There was nothing we could do against it. Daycare was necessary so we could work. Also, in my job, I can't fully work from home, maybe max 2 days out of 5. We and many other countries don't have the option to be as careful. It's not about the hang after work. It's about being able to work for us. Well, Appia, I believe you forgot I was going to work in person in an office while everyone got COVID except for like me.
Yeah, when you was in New York.
Yeah, so
it's not for me. It's different because I was at the house.
yeah, but it's not just work from home. It's also, for me at least, it was a lot of just following the protocols, man. I'm hearing with this new variant XBB.1.5 or whatever it is. I'm hearing that it may or may not, like, you should still wear a mask and do what you can, but it's so infectious that even wearing a mask may not be enough, or just being careful may not be enough anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which we'll find out. It's gonna have to still come get me.
It's got to fly on his hands.
Yeah, but I've tried my best to be careful, and it's been interesting because I know it makes me the weirdo at this point. Mm-hmm. When people are like, oh, we should get up, we should hang out, and I'm like, why would we do that? You know what I mean? Like hang out in a place. Wow, what would be the point of that? With people, and no one's
you're an introvert too, and a lot of people because we do the podcast, and you're not them quote unquote, when people say introvert, I don't know why people think you're just a weirdo. All introverts are not weirdo, and they do have social skills. A lot of people just assume introverts just don't have any social skills.
But that's the thing, is not just the introversion, it's also the risk aversion. You know what I mean? It's also me being like, when you see people saying shit like, this city that I'm in is in, like, the red as far as like alerts for COVID, and then people are just like, nah, fuck it, I'm not a fuck it guy. It just is what it is. But hopefully the numbers will go down, and I will be able to do some stuff. I think They're predicting, at least the COVID guide our office is predicting, maybe end of January, beginning of February, we'll see the numbers come down and we'll be able to do more stuff without mask and shit. And I think if that happens, then I'll be more apt to just do shit. But yeah, right now it's hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
Appia says we were told in company remote work is okay, especially for people with other positions with no customer contacts, unlike my job, as long as it's in Germany because something tax law. I didn't research further because, as I told you, I can't do it really. Yeah, I'm not knocking anybody. Yeah,
Mm-mm. And I
you know.
understand what you're saying about kids, because that's the thing that's unpredictable. Because children are unpredictable. So for
Mhm.
some people, particularly if you had children, you were sending them off to school. Not trying to find it was almost inevitable, inevitable that word, because you're dealing with children.
Mhm. And we've talked about it many times. I've addressed it many times, and we've talked about we've been privileged to go through this
Hmm.
with the situation we have. So I'm not, you know, I would hope at this point y'all don't need me to acknowledge it every single time I speak on it because I've said it so many times. But
Hmm.
in addition to those privileges, I know people that have the same privileges and they got it. You know what I mean? Like it just I know I'm in a very small group of people at this point, and I'm not trying to risk getting it if I can avoid it.
Yep.
The Swami says, "Hi, Rod and Karen. About the TikTok celebrity death prank. After a while, the admonitions of Angela Bassett's son got to be too much of a pile on. I saw too many people make it all they were tweeting about for multiple days and reiterating the same points. Once he apologized, that should have been it. But people were out here like dogs with a bone.
Yeah, that's not how the internet works. And yeah, no. They like you giving up like this. They were gonna keep talking until something else happened. We bored, so that was gonna be the thing until something else took its place.
This is what I be talking about when I talk about these weird ass online hate parties. And
They're going after a
I
child
know
like
that
that.
there's people that listen to this, or maybe they stop listening, but I know there's people who think I'm some level of contrarian at this point where I'm like, no, I like so and so or something like that. But I swear to God, it's just not that. It's just if a big ass group of people is consistently like telling you, like targeting people for like mistakes or social faux pas and shit like that, especially after the people have either apologized or addressed it, that group is probably wrong. And they're definitely not a group I want to hang out with, even if I thought they
Mm-mm.
were right. Because to me, it's not about the infraction. It's about the high of the group vibe, the dynamic of we're
Yes.
all gonna talk about this again. And yeah,
And
a lot of
I'm
these
better than
motherfuckers,
you.
hmm,
I said, and I'm better than you.
and a lot of these motherfuckers, to me, the problem is just the hypocrisy.
Hmm.
Because I watch the same people talk about like shaming people for being like you need to be a soft parent, or even, and I even if it's just somebody that says something not even like harsh, like I'm gonna hit my kid, but something like, yeah, my kid did blank, and so we had this thing planned for them and we're not gonna do it now because
Right.
they didn't do whatever it was they're supposed to do in school.
Correct.
and
Like I'm
people
not gonna reward them for that behavior. Right.
and people will be like, this is what's wrong with black parents and shit like that, where it's like, damn, what the, like, y'all are on one. Y'all really be on one sometimes. And yet those same people, literally some of the same people,
Hmm.
were the people saying like, I hope they hit this kid. I hope
A lot of
Angela
that.
Bassett and them whooped him. Look at this. Look at how he crying. That's because they, and I was like, damn, or I normally don't believe in hitting kids, but this one time, well, nigga, everybody got one time. If that's the case,
Right.
if that's what the rule is gonna be, it's that full. Anyway, I didn't want to get into a whole tangent. My point being, I'm with you. I thought the pile on seemed kind of harsh, and it ultimately seemed like the kind of shit that like these kids are learning lessons.
But
And
they happen to learn it, and he just happened to learn it on a bigger platform because of who his parents are. Like you said, there are a lot of children that have done this shit, but they're not famous, and their parents aren't famous, so nobody really cares.
yeah, he learned it in front of everybody, and that
Correct.
sucks for him. And I do wonder what that will mean, but hopefully it'll be all good. But yeah, I thought it was interesting how long people were mad at that kid. Adults like to chastise the kid for their irresponsible internet pranks, but I find the trend of harping on this for days to be irresponsible, bordering on bullying, especially when it comes from grown ass people who should have their own business to tend to, and who should know better. Thanks for your perspectives. Love the show. I'm with you. Totally agree. Tanya says, Rod, so cool that you got a delivery from Joe's Steamed Rice Roll. It's so good. I stop by their Upper West Side location from time to time. If you order from them again, ask for extra chili oil. It's amazing. I did get extra chili oil. It's an option on the delivery. And you know what? I was dipping up in that chili oil. So uh,
Not dipping.
I was dipping up in the oil. Dizzy Lizzie Gal says, never taken a hush trip, but because we talked about hush trips, and I think it was the poll. A hush trip is a trip you take from without your job knowing. So she says, never taken a hush trip, but mostly because when I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. LOL. I don't want to answer emails, take calls, nothing. To each his own, but that sounds like a drag to me. I see how you would feel that way. I think depending on the kind of job I had, like if I knew when 5 o'clock hit, I was off. I knew for a fact I would be off. I think I would do a hush trip. Like I like it, because what would be better than being off, but you in France? You know what I'm saying? I'm maybe I had to be in my hotel room or my Airbnb for that 8 hours, and that sucks or whatever. But then it's like you walk outside and you're eating a fucking croissant and going to the Eiffel Tower. It's like,
I'm not some wee.
Yeah, this shit hit different, you know?
Yeah, and I do understand that depending on what kind of job you have, they like, no, nigga, you can't do this because of whatever restrictions within your job. That's very understandable. I know certain government jobs and things like that, but there are some jobs where I'm like, y'all just doing this just because y'all want to.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be where would you go on a vacation and what the time zone difference would be.
Right.
Because like I wouldn't want to go to like Australia and I have to be up from
you a day in advance.
Yeah, I gotta be up from like 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. to make it look like I'm working at the right times and shit. That's crazy. Sean says, I haven't taken a hush trip, but I had a coworker who decided to take on a full-time synchronized remote teaching position with Zoom classes while the university we were working at was using asynchronized remote teaching, which is no assigned class times. You do it at your own pace. He got a permanent position at the new place. He was moonlighting that motherfucker, but I'm not bitter. The pink superhero says, if you think vaccine compliance is scary overall, wait until you look at things by age. Children in particular are so poorly vaccinated. For the under 5 set, it's hovering near just a touch over 10%. Why people aren't more terrified of the impact of COVID on their children is completely beyond me. It wasn't fun dragging my kids to get vaccinated over and over, but we did that. I don't get it either.
But this is just my prediction. A lot of misinformation and a lot of the government and their messaging. Like this is one time I do kind of, put it on them. A lot of people bought into the myth that children can't catch it and shit like that. And people was like, well, you do know we took children out of school immediately, so they were not around each other. But it was like when they started doing shit like summer camps and all this shit, the shit would like run through these camps and run through the administrators. We was reading this over and over again, and people just like it didn't matter. Children were actually getting the adults around them sick, and some of these adults were dying or dead, or end up dying from it. And people just have this myth. Well, it ain't that bad in kids. Yeah, you say that to the parents who have kids with long COVID. You say that to the parents because children's immune systems are developing, so how it shows in us and how it shows in them might not be the same, because none of us are pediatricians. And so it's one of these things where people just have this myth that their children will just be all right. But when you have a child that might be immune compromised and all these other things, as a parent, I'd be like, I would not want my child to get this. And a lot of this, a lot of people, the anti-vax movement has grown too. And a lot of parents are like, you ain't getting this, nor are you getting anything else that you actually need to survive.
Yeah, I just think the fear mongering around the vaccine was stronger than the fear people had of COVID.
Right.
And I think when they heard that kids weren't dying at a rapid rate, it was like, then I'm not even gonna get my kid vaccinated. And because kids weren't dying, getting sick at rapid amounts, because we, really cut school out, we did a bunch of shit to make sure kids didn't get it. But
Right.
because that happened, I think a lot of the talking points from a lot of people turned, instead of turning into like, we did a good job keeping this away from the kids, it turned into, well, the kids can't even get really sick from it. like like it just flipped into like, yeah, the kids are fine, we should let them get as much as they want and pass it around, even though we keep finding out new long-term effects all the goddamn time of like, oh, or the variants come and it's like, oh, this one has different effects than the last one. So yeah.
And a lot of children, black and brown children, will be impacted probably more. I think you did read some more
Yeah.
than other groups.
Yeah.
And so, not trying to be funny, like COVID, when they was like, "Oh, black and browns dying," I'm gonna give a fuck about COVID. Take off your mask.
Yeah, or
That's
just
how people
even if
became.
it's not a race thing, some of the kids being disabled or pre-existing conditions, a lot of people didn't care. It's like, well, my kid doesn't have those things.
Correct.
um let's see, EVE says, I didn't really know much about Andrew Tate until he got banned from Twitter the first time, and then I forgot about him, and then he came back when Elon unbanned his Twitter. I just assumed he was the white Kevin Samuels, but way worse. Even if he didn't get arrested because of the pizza box, you got to admit the timing of his arrest is hilarious, because his last tweet was him being triggered by a teenage girl. Oh, it's definitely hilarious. If anything, like I said, it really points out. I only wanted to make 2 points. One,
Mhm.
the erroneousness of it, but the way that it was accepted as truth points out a lot of our biases, right? We wanted to believe that that's what's happened, so that's what we said.
Right.
Yeah, and then the second thing was, this woman knew that she made that up. And
Knew
then
this shit.
once the police had to come out and be like, that's not how we caught him, she then only then came out and addressed like, oh yeah, I did make this up, but still wouldn't delete it, which is so interesting to me, because I
Right.
don't think that's an integrity thing. I think that's a dopamine thing.
Of course, because if it was integrity, you took it down.
That's what I believe. Gina Gates says, so I so enjoy hearing Karen talk about basketball. I had no idea players could be so diverse in function. Uh, oh,
Oh,
and oh my
thank
God.
you. I know a little something. Roger know more than me, but I know a little something.
And oh my God, thank y'all so much for introducing me to the way of the house husband. It's adorable and hilarious, and it's dubbed so I can listen. Do y'all know if there are any sites or titles that have audio description of anime in English? I've added Love, Death, and Robots to my queue because it has audio description, but I haven't seen any
That's good.
others. Thanks. Gina, I don't know. It's so interesting, right? Because anime, I think they look at it as, well, we dubbed it to whatever native language, that's the end.
Yeah,
Like
they
I
don't
don't
go
even
there. Yep.
like, and even then, a lot of times they don't really do a great job with that, because like I'm listening like on Crunchyroll. Sometimes they'll dub it, no subtitles.
Right.
So they dubbed it, but now you can't read the subtitles or know, what I'm saying, if you want to follow along or something, not even just the subtitles from the Japanese version. Another thing they'll do, they dubbed it, uh what Spy Family, still 2 episodes behind. My Hero Academia, still two
The two
episodes
episodes, I'm
behind,
like,
and
I
it's
don't
been
get
two episodes
that.
and it's been 2 episodes behind for like a month.
Right.
Like it's not like, because they took a break for the holiday or whatever. It's not like they're going, okay, we took a break, but let's go ahead and catch up on those real quick for people. It's like, no, it's just gonna be 2 episodes behind for a long time. And so yeah, I don't think you're gonna find, I hope there is, if someone that knows a resource, hit us up, but I don't think you're gonna find it in anime, because they pat themselves on the back for just fucking translating the shit.
Right. They was like, you got it in your language. You're like, but yeah. particularly with certain anime, like TV shows, particularly if they talk low and things like that. Like I actually want to know what the fuck they're saying. And it'd be sometimes where certain things they whisper and something like that. I'm like, well, what did they say? I missed it, but I don't have anything floating across my screen, so I have to like turn it up real loud. I was like, no, this should come across my screen. I should be able to read this.
We got a couple comments on YouTube for this episode. Jay Del Negro says, laughing my ass off at I got some points you can power. And oh shit, what a bitch is at during the HR diversity meeting. Ramsey says 5 stars for staying truthful in these streets. Thank you. You know how we do. And the poll for this episode is have you ever taken a hush trip? 10% of our audience has, 90% have not on the website. But let's check the people with money on Spotify. They probably work remote. 16%. So it's a higher percentage. 16% have, 84% have not. Now they also probably don't need to take hush trips, because when you got that kind of money at your job, you can just take a loud trip. Like, I'm not working because I'm gonna be in Cabo San Lucas.
Just use your PTO. These people out here with the unlimited PTO time.
Right. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
And no, I ain't answering no email. You see my out of office message.
Right. Then the comment for the show was, where does one go to meet adult friends?
That's a great question.
Because it's not Adult Friend Finder.
No, you don't want to find them there. No.
So if you want to find some adult friends, it's like you really don't have as many options as it seems like you should. Creasy 131 says the orthodontist. Well, I guess in like the waiting room, maybe. Raphael,
guess they all gonna have straight teeth.
Or they trying to get there. If they
we trying to get straight teeth.
Raphael says, go to Prospect Park and stand in the big lawn with a sign describing the type of friends you seek, and you shall find thee. Let me know how it goes, and if you get paid, give me 15%. Consider research. Is that where the prostitutes are? What's Prospect Park?
All right, what's happening here?
Miss Barnes says, the bar. With a thumbs up emoji. Okay. Well, that's what I like to do. Start off with them being drunk. I like my friends unstable. Aaron says Bumble BFF. Bumble BFF. That's a subdivision of Bumble. Keisha says, damn if I know. After my divorce in 2015, I used to find events to meet new people via Meetup. I made a few pals through Facebook, but it's hard to make new in real life pals. Veda says Bumble Friends has worked for me a bit. Oh, so he was for real about that Bumble thing. Okay. In terms of places, dog it's so wait. Bumble's big claim to fame is, at least on the dating side, I guess on the heteronormative dating side, if we're being specific, the women have to accept the request from the dude before you can even really start talking. Does it work that way for the friends too?
Okay, so the friend find is like a subsection of like Bumble itself.
It sounds like
it
sounds like they have a friend division.
Right. It was like, you ain't trying to date nobody. You just out here. You just needing friends, because they figured out that for some people they like, I don't want to date. I just want to meet people and be friends. Like nothing sexual about it for some people.
But if the hook is on Bumble, the women have to accept first. How does it work for just the friend part? That's what I'm asking. Like, do they still have that rule?
Does that rule still apply? That's a good question. I don't know.
But she says, she says dog parks are all right, but depend heavily on where you live and if you have a dog, right? It seemed awkward to show up with no dog. Like, I'm just trying to make some friends. I got so many whites at mine that it starts to feel like I'm at the office. And Neil finally says, I found one of my closest friends playing pickup soccer at my local park. Yeah, pickup basketball, I think, is a pretty reliable way to meet friends, because you can kind of fill them out through playing the sport, because I think people basically play sports the way they are in real life. They cheat on the court, they cheat on their wife, they cheat on their taxes. I'm dead serious.
All
Like,
that shit. You said that. I think you said your dad told you like people's personalities will shine on the court. Like who you are will actually shine in the way you
I
play
don't know if it was
basketball.
something my dad told me or just something I picked up in life, but just
Okay.
how motherfuckers are playing basketball is how the fuck they are.
I
Period.
remember you telling me that. Yeah, I remember. I think you said your dad, but I remember you were saying, yeah, you were saying if you do certain things and I look at your life, all that shit boils down together. You're like, if you come in here angry, you is angry in life.
Yeah. Episode 2656, the last Karen OG. We had 4 comments. Appia says the name Karen is absolutely unknown here. I know no one who isn't from the English world who has this name. We have Karen with an I, close but somehow very different, and also spoken differently with the A, like the A at the end of Himda. So like Karen, like that. Okay,
Hmm.
interesting.
I never seen it with an I. I seen it with a Y. I seen it with an E. Never seen it with an I.
I, yeah, that's interesting. And I guess they don't have a reputation then. Like the Karin over there in Germany isn't like they're not like, oh my god, here she goes, she gonna call the cops.
Right.
Newsy says, oh man, I love that Karen flew through Kataru Lives Alone. That anime was so good. I wonder if you will like Romantic Killer. Karen is out about a girl who has handsome men thrust into her life in an attempt to get her to fall in love, but all she cares about is chocolate, video games, and her cat. It's hilarious, but also a little sad. Yay, anime. So
Romantic Killer. That sounds fun. But yeah, I flew through that and I was like, I hope they get a season two.
yeah. I don't know what app that's on. I'm looking it up now. It's on Netflix. Okay.
Okay,
Romantic
cool.
Killer. Cool. So I added to my queue as well. Yeah, I think um I'm waiting on Spy Family and Funimation to get the dubs going for my hero.
Yes. I've
But
been
in
checking every goddamn day. Get it together.
I check every day too, multiple
Come
times.
on. I check Crunchyroll. I check. I'm like, one of y'all bitches get it together now.
Hulu, all of them. They all
Right. And they're like, nah.
right.
I'm
But
so tempted to press play and be like, fuck it. But I like the English version.
right. So but yeah, in the meantime, I actually started watching Housing Complex C. It's on HBO Max.
Oh, that's the one they had on Adult Swim.
Hmm.
Yeah. How was
And
that one?
then
About them two little girls.
yeah, it's a lot slower than the commercials made it look. I'm on like episode 3 and ain't shit happened really. And then the other thing I'm watching is, and I'm done. I'm almost done. I'm on the last episode, and it's been a journey because it's 9 episodes long. It's called Inventing Anna, or I guess Inventing Anna, as she would say in her accent. But it's about that scammer that was like part of the high society life of New York City and ended up being exposed as like a fake German heiress that ended up going to jail for defrauding a bunch of
Did we
people and
cover
shit.
her?
A little, because I never really gave a fuck.
Okay. Why
Like
people knew
high
better.
society, yeah, high society white people scam and is just I think I just don't have the reverence for it that it seemed like the during the heyday of the scammer where everybody was like, I'm a scammer and oh scammers, I love scammers. I guess I just never got into it. Like it always was something about it that felt like I don't know, they seem like kind of shitty people. Like
And a
like
lot of that shit was not complex. It was like, oh, y'all just doing this. Like they allowed to be scammed because they white. They not scamming because they doing so. Because you know they are good scammers regardless of the color of skin. But like, oh yeah, this is some complicated shit that you know we're trying to fool people. They were just doing basic ass. I'm white, and people just
I
threw money at them.
I am now, and I don't know how this happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a mood, but I am like I have watched like 3 or 4 things about scammers in the last like week or two. I watched Bernie Madoff's documentary series on Netflix. It's like 4 episodes long. Very unimpressed by his scamming and came away just going, "Oh, he was a white man and other white people trusted him."
Right.
And the apparatuses that are supposed to catch people scamming didn't work because the people just trusted him beyond that.
They didn't work right because you be like, oh yeah, if somebody would have did a basic ass job, it would have flagged something.
They had multiple times where people literally had him dead to rights and just did not do the due diligence. Like there was a time where someone did a whistleblower thing on him, and the FCC or whoever it was called him, or the SEC, whichever one. Anyway, they called him. He said he didn't do it, and then they just was like, "Okay, good enough for us." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." And then he just went on to steal billions of dollars. But cool, cool, cool. And then the other one I watched last night was Call Me Miss Cleo, Mrs. Cleo, or Miss
Okay,
Cleo.
I've heard about that. That one on HBO, right?
Yeah, it's on HBO. Hated that documentary.
Mm.
Um, I would have liked it. I think if they would have stuck with the black people that knew her from when she was coming up and when she kind of invented that character. But then they switched halfway through into this very sympathetic, we believe everything she said. She was a real victim. Her life was traumatic, even though we don't really know any details and can't confirm shit. And then it turned into all the white people that kind of took her in like a pet after the psychic
Mm.
after the psychic hotline thing blew up. And she was like basically disgraced, even though I do understand how she got an unfair shake with the psychic hotline thing, because it's not like she owned it. She just was the person in the commercial, and her reputation and shit took a bigger hit than the people that fucking really was scamming people.
Right, because don't nobody know who the people are.
Right. But all that shit aside, she was also like a shady person that lied a lot in life, and she and so, but it was so crazy to watch these white folks, because at the end, those are the people that seemed like they really wanted this documentary made and really wanted a sympathetic take. And for some reason, Raven Simone was in there, even though Raven Simone must have been 4 years old when this shit happened.
Yeah, I be like, she had to be a little girl when that shit popped.
Yeah, so weird, so weird. But it was just so weirdly done, and nothing was really answered. You know, it's like it's
Yeah,
like
you
the
like answers
documentary.
with your documentaries.
Well, it's like the documentary, but the fucking. It's not that I just like the answers to my documentaries. The fucking documentary is basically what happened to Miss Cleo. Who was she? Might as well have been the name of it. And then when you fucking watch it, you're like, wait, what? Like, what? How? When y'all gonna tell me where she came from? When y'all gonna find any of the claims that she made about like her family and the people who did raise her? No one went to look into that. That's crazy to me. That's
Also, they
you gotta
didn't
do
talk to her
due
immediate family and
diligence,
things like that.
huh?
They didn't talk to her immediate family.
No, nobody from her
Oh,
past other than the people that like um grew, like
I wonder if a lot of them
the people
declined or
that the
something.
people that were in like drama and stuff like that with her, and was like, yeah, we knew her when she went, her real name was Yuri, and we knew her from like doing this. Some people even was like, we was in the drama club, whatever the fuck, when she invented the character Miss Cleo. And then they had a ton of Jamaican people that was like, yes, she was not Jamaican. Like the way she talked, it was not how we talk. And it was like a put upon accent, and everybody black, everyone Jamaican knew that it was a fake ass accent, but these white people ate it up hook, line, and sinker. My favorite line was this one white woman going some shit to the it was some stupid ass line like, we don't know whether she was Jamaican or what she really was, but it didn't matter because love doesn't have an accent.
Bitch, what?
Yeah,
What that mean?
yeah. Like it was
Love
just
don't
super
got no
weird.
accent.
Yeah, it was just super weird, man. But yeah, it's I
So your love don't walk in there speaking all types of accents. Your love don't do that apparently.
right. So, and Yeah, I see some people saying Raven Simone would have been 20 when this happened. So, because it was in the late 90s. Raven Simone is what, 37? So she would have been, late 90s is over 20 years ago. So she would have been like 16, 17, some shit like that. I said 4 as a joke, but she was not old enough to like know Miss Cleo is my point. And if you watch the fucking documentary, which I suggest you do if you don't believe me, go listen to how she talks about Miss Cleo. She talks about it like she's finding out like the audience. She has no personal relationship, no story of specific like that's specific to like anything. It's all just like, the documentary will be like, and then Miss Cleo came out of the closet, and then they cut back to Raven Simone, and Raven Simone will be like, okay, go ahead, Miss Cleo. And I'm like, she just found that out. She just found that out. Get out of here. Like, why is she in this documentary? Why? Y'all just want to be like, and remember her from the 90s? Like, get out of here, guys. But yeah, it's all good. It wasn't a good documentary. And then so yeah, I think I watched that, the Madoff thing, and this Inventing Anna thing, which is also ridiculous. So I guess I'm just in the scammer territory right now. All right, tangent over. Brooklyn Shoe Babe says, I haven't followed Diddy's love life since he dated J-Lo. LOL. Happy New Year, fam. Girl, same. And I honestly didn't care about that until that shooting.
The same. And they broke up, and I didn't care since then.
And unlike I know a lot of people won't admit, but they really didn't start hating J-Lo until that shooting shit. And I was 1 trillion% on J-Lo's side. I couldn't have been more on J-Lo's side about that.
I did the same thing. The fuck is this? Nope.
Nigga, you shooting people? The fuck? What do you think? No, I'm not doing that. We not casually fucking around with murder. People, I thought J-Lo was ride or die. Nigga, what? Die then.
I am not ride or die. I'm ride and call the motherfucking police. I'm not that bitch.
I still remember people talking like she was supposed to like go to jail for them or some shit. I'm like, nigga, that's crazy.
I don't care how hot your bop was to try to beg her to come back. Bitch, no.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, when these made them I Need a Girl part 1 and 2, I said, yeah, well, it's not gonna be J-Lo.
Not gonna be J-Lo.
Scare her away. Eva E says, I live next to a Karen whose name is actually Karen, and she's nosy as hell, but she's nice to me, so no problems these past 12 years. But don't let her catch you outside, because she will talk to you for a half hour straight and won't take hints when you say you have to go. I imagine with the negative connotation of that name, now not many people will name their kids that for many years to come, unless the parents are hippies like the ones who name their kids Gertrude and Arthur. If you looking for anime suggestions, you may enjoy Blue Lock. If you're into sports anime, it's pretty good. All right.
Blue Lock, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I don't know Blue Lock either.
Was soccer or one of them other sports?
Yeah, actually, we were suggested this on the Nerd Off, so yeah, I've heard of it, just haven't had time to get to it. And then let's check the comments on YouTube for this episode, which was the last Karen OG 2656. We got 2 comments. My mom says, great show, dear brother and dear sister. Thank you, Mom. Jay says, dude with the fake parking tickets, that sound like a Van Wilder plot line to get beer money. It does. Oh, that kid, man. And then the poll was, do you follow Diddy's love life? Yes, and I always have. Yes, but only recently, or not really?
Not really. I could care less, truthfully.
96% of the audience is with you. They do not follow his love life. 4% says yes, but only recently. Probably because they following JT and the City Girl.
Yeah, but say they know who the City Girls is. But see, I don't really know who the City Girls is. So
0% say they always have. Which, like I said, I'm not even judging people. It was more that I did not know there was anybody that did follow his love life like that until Black Twitter. Black Twitter was the thing that I first saw people. It was the first time I saw people being like, "This is a black, this is a black guy that I care about because I'm black," and I was like, "Did he? Who did he's fucking okay? All right, that's new
New
for
to
me."
me.
But it's like another one is when I found out that everybody that black people fuck with the woman from Golden Girls that just died like recently before she turned 100.
Oh, Betty White.
Betty White. I didn't know that was that. It was like oh yeah, I love the Golden Girls. Buying me being at my grandmama house and watching them spicy old white women talk, and I love Rose and Angela and Dorothy and Blanche. Like that was my shit as a kid. But I didn't know anybody else black fucked with Golden Girls because we wasn't going to school and having
talking about the Golden Girls.
Like like that wasn't a topic of conversation. It wasn't like Martin or Living Single or something. It's like, oh, did you see when Blanche when she fucked that new suitor and he died? Like we didn't talk about it. So it wasn't until Twitter that I found out so many black people had grown up and loved Golden Girls and specifically Betty White. Diddy's love life is that for me, where I'm like, oh, it was a subsection of black people that they didn't just really follow him, but they have opinions and they get mad about the shit. They care.
They care a lot more than me because I don't.
Do you follow Diddy's love life for the people with money on Spotify? Yes, and I always have 4%. Yes, but only recently 7%, 89%, not really. The poll, the Liver King. I mean, not the poll, the comment. The Liver King, more like the Liar King. Boom, roasted. Unlike the meat he consumes, it was roasted. Keith Taylor says, I just looked up what your liver does and what the entire hell would make anyone want to eat that shit raw. Periodically, I have to ask aloud, are the whites okay? The answer is always no.
Your liver filters out a lot of shit.
Well, the other thing with the Liver King that's so interesting is I don't like regular cooked liver.
I like with liver and onions. Yeah, that's not.
I don't even like that, and I don't think many people do. Now there's gonna be some weirdos that gonna say they love it because there's always some black people that love everything, and so I'm not saying there's a monolith. But I'm just saying, I don't know these people. You know what I mean? Like, I've never kicked it with the person. Like, I've never been in a restaurant and watched somebody order liver. I've only had this in environmental settings where I either had no choice or something like where it's like my mama made liver, so guess what the fuck we eating? What mama made? Because you ain't really got no choice, do you now?
That's why I haven't ate that in years, and it's one of those things where it's not on the top of the agenda, and it's hard to find.
It's
places
not just not on the top of the agenda; it's on the fucking bottom of the agenda, Karen. It's not on the agenda at all. We've been together so long, not once.
Nope.
Liver's on sale. Not once have you. Oh, let me get some liver.
Nope.
You know what I want to make? Why don't you make me some liver tonight? No, not one request ever. It's not good. So yeah, this nigga eating it raw. That's even worse, is my point.
No shit better be cooked.
Miss
Chopped
Barnes
up with gravy and onions.
Miss Barnes says, where was this fool on January 6th? Raphael says, apparently if I was shirtless in lemon mankini mumbling, mumbling, grunting while flashing abs, I would have been sold out of NFTs and living on my own private island. But I have
yes, you would have. You trying to have standards of selling your NFTs, and that don't work.
New year, new flavor. Here's the thing. I don't think there's a black version of Liver King that makes what he made. I think you just
are you into get fake abs?
I think you just would have been a weird fake ab having nigga because white people is not. The thing that he's also selling that he's not having to be out loud about is insurrection and incel and January. Yeah, like he's selling a lot of MAGA. you're not gonna be able to. No, I'm not just talking about steroids because he wasn't selling that. He was selling the opposite of steroids. He was like, I'm doing all this through just eating liver. That's what he was. I'm eating
Okay,
raw, and that's
like
why
I'm
I'm
doing
like,
this quote unquote naturally.
right.
Yeah.
But the unspoken part he was selling was a lot of white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you didn't see
All
him
eagles
hanging.
and American flags.
Right, you didn't see him hanging out with a lot of brothers. You know, he's also like anti-vax leaning. You know what I'm saying? Like so don't. What I'm saying is, don't be too hard on yourself. I think you would have run into some other hurdles connecting with his audience. Is all I'm saying.
I think so too.
Roger says, cook that nigga. That's what he should have did to that liver. Cook that liver.
Look that bitch. Look it.
Um, so that's it for that one. Last episode is viral load, and we had 7 comments on episode 2657 viral load. Ooh, sorry, that wasn't supposed to play. Let's get to the comments on the website. Appia says, predicting the worst news imaginable seems to be great for business, and you never have to say you were wrong. You can just say that it didn't come true yet. That's a great point. Don, do you remember when in 2020 Corona started and so many people said the world was ending, and there was never any correction? How people were expecting Omicron and Delta remix to take over an infection as Omicron and as deadly as Delta? It didn't happen. Yes. Remember when they said we're gonna have flu Rona? It was gonna be the flu and coronavirus. You don't remember this?
Oh shit! They crossing hands, reaching across the aisle.
This is news to you, Karen. I swear we covered this on the show.
We probably did. It just didn't stick in my head.
All right. Well, I guess that's just more proof, right? Flu Rona was such a big deal.
It didn't last long, not long enough for me to remember. But you know, I remember BB138 and all these other variations.
It was supposed to be so fucking scary, and then it just didn't happen, and nobody went back and went, huh, maybe we should have to relax on bringing the fear level up to 1 million and take a step back. And tangentially, it's all, to me, goes back to people not deleting tweets. Like, you'd rather get the attention of flu Rona is coming and it's gonna kill your kids and your grandchildren and your pets. And then when
it's gonna jump out the window and attack you in the middle of the night.
I've been doing my calculations, and as you look on this chart, you can see by tonight at midnight, flu Rona will be 100% in everybody. And it's like, okay, well,
it works.
That's either gonna happen or not happen, and we will have proof at midnight that it didn't happen.
Right.
Yet. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, you don't get out of
here. This way we always have a very anxious state. Can they relax? Not even for 5 minutes. And that's why at the end of the year, it was always a terrible year, as it seems. You're right.
Yeah, because they don't stress everybody out, right?
And that's also why I don't watch news anymore. I read them, and it's more than enough. Lou Luna says, I think that 10-year-old party story is a total scam. I'm always skeptical of viral stories like this, but when it's this saddening, it feels like a scheme. I blame the parents on this one. Going and telling this to Reddit is a red flag. It seems to me like a sympathy grab for an attention-seeking parent. If it actually did happen, I still blame the parents. They must be awful enough for adults not to just suck it up and let their kids come eat some cake and run around with their friend. Maybe it's the whole family and they don't get just how much people do not like them.
Right.
They be showing up to school board meetings like, we need to burn these books and get rid of critical race theory. Now, listen, my kid has a birthday party coming up on Saturday. All you niggas are invited. Okay, I don't care. Okay, just make sure you bring a present. Take your shoes off, and you got to stay outside.
I mean, and I'll even let the gays come in. Just don't wear no rainbow, but okay, you come on in.
Listen, don't say gay, but that don't mean you can't say happy birthday. So don't let that stop you. Okay. You can blow out some candles just as long as you don't touch anybody at my party. I could definitely see. It's got to be something with the parents.
I can see that.
But yeah, she said if it's just the parents and the kid as sweet as can be, then I really feel for him. But all in all, I totally agree with Rod. I was washing the dishes when y'all were going through this one, shaking my head, and then I jumped right towards my speaker as if y'all were in the kitchen with me screaming. There's something more to this, and it just reeks of scam / awful humans. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Um,
kids love cake and pointless times and running around. Like you had literally everything a child would want, and parents was like, no,
and a lot of parents will suck it up, meaning
yeah, they
they,
will just for
they
the
can,
kids.
like, for the sake of their kids, like my kid is friends with a conservative, with a kid who has a conservative set of parents or whatever, but those two kids happen to be friends, and a lot of times parents will be like, well, and now maybe it's changed, I can see it changing over Trump, but
Yeah, see,
at
they
least
was like,
back in
no,
the
I draw the line at Trump. Nope.
but at least back in the day, there used to
Right.
be like a level of like, you know what, man, like we don't need to make kids deal with adult shit yet. So
Agreed.
like, just because you voted for a person I didn't vote for, that don't mean our kids can't play basketball together.
Right.
And so it just makes me think something else is up. If the parents couldn't even look that aside to be like, go on to the party, it's fine. Appia says, I agree 100%. Sounds very suspicious, and I would find it very embarrassing as a kid to get this kind of attention. You have no friends, but at least strangers feel bad for you and pity you, right? Right.
There's a bunch of shit from people we don't know.
I'm definitely not calling the news team, you know?
You ain't calling Channel 9 Eyewitness News Report to
Wow,
cover this top story.
nobody showed up to my loser son's birthday. Call Channel 7.
Tune in at 11.
Yeah. EVE says, I call BS with the kid's birthday party as well. It seems like this trend started a while ago where someone posts their kid looking all sad because no one showed up to their party, and it's usually a kid that has special needs. First of all, I thought that trend was kind of humiliating for the child and up there with the parents who punish their kids online for likes. Yeah, parenting online just seems like a bad proposition in general.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
The point, I think, was to gain sympathy and possibly money and gifts out of it, and it usually worked. After the first few posts like that went viral, more people started doing it. But then this is when all the scammers came in. For example, a few years back, a woman posted her kid in her car crying her eyes out because he was being bullied. People were sharing their posts, and even I felt bad for the kid. The kid even had his Chris Evans and Mark Ruffalo. Oh, the kid even had Chris Evans and Mark Ruffalo invite him to the premiere of the Avengers Infinity War. I remember this story. Black Twitter CSI stepped in and found out the kid was being bullied for calling his classmates the N-word, and found out the family was a whole ass team MAGA. I remember that. They lit that family up, and Chris and Mark. Mark felt so bad he had to invite a black kid who was bullied to the premiere as well. I'm sorry, I remember that. Now, whenever I see people post their kids to garner sympathy, I scroll right to past. Yo, yes, that's what it is. The fact that you're even putting it out there is suspect. It's suspect because it's like almost like a weird Munchausen syndrome type reaction.
What
You
kind of
know,
syndrome?
so Munchausen syndrome is when people make their kids or pretend that their kids are sick to get the attention and the sympathy from the folks within the community. And they'll be like, oh, my kid has cancer and da 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 da. And then you find out later, like, oh, she was poisoning her kid, or she was making her go to the
Yeah,
hospital.
because we cover stories like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you were like, the fuck were you doing?
Uh,
Or either they flatline altogether, the baby ain't even sick.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Appia says, my job is the kind of job where I could work 24/7 because there were always 150 projects simultaneously, and I have to set boundaries to not work on weekends or vacation. Luckily, Wolfgang, my supervisor, also sets those boundaries. For example, doesn't call after 6 p.m. unless we are having an event. But it pays well. I always tell myself, Appia, you could be stressed and make no money. When I'm very stressed, I open my pay slips files and look at them. No joke, it helps. Yeah, you know what's funny is like, and I've just been lucky in life. I've never really done, as of yet, I've never done something where I like really fucking hated it, but was getting paid so well that I was like, I guess I'm gonna deal with this shit that I hate.
Yeah, I've done a lot. I've worked jobs that I did not like, but the money was not well.
Yeah, but
like,
the money wasn't a money thing. It's like I
right.
don't like this job, but shit, I wish I could look at a check and get the motivation,
Ain't that the truth?
But yeah, so as of yet, I haven't hated anything that much that I needed to look at my bank account, but also I haven't made enough to be
Right.
looking at my bank account and be like, oh, thank God. Because I would kill these motherfuckers if it wasn't for this. You know?
If they was paying me a lot less, no.
All right. Gina says having to get back into masking consistently at work again is so hard. The second day back, one of my coworkers tested positive. She thought it was the flu, and the students are back. Before the break, my boss had it. Damn, I'm vaxxed and boosted, but it's getting scary again. I don't want to get it in 3 years in. I want to get my COVID diploma. Me too.
Me too. And that's why you I guess it's something you never graduate from until COVID decides to throw its cap and gown in the air. You never graduate from it,
Yeah.
and you just keep getting the boosters.
We'll see what happens, man. The written one says, Rod, I thought I was being an asshole, so I'm glad. Uh, I'm so glad you also called bullshit on that kid's birthday party. I knew she was lying when she said all 40 guests returned to RSVP. That has never happened ever. And you mean to tell me not even one or two of those kids showed up after saying they come? Ain't no way. I think mama just wanted to go viral and get the loot she knew kind people would send to her. It's happened before. I'm with y'all. This is a conspiracy theory. I'm all in on everybody.
Controversy.
We got comments on YouTube. My mom says y'all got them jokes. Thank you, Mom. I had fun with the viral load story. You know, we had a bunch of silly stories this week, and it was very fun.
Yes.
J Del Negro says viral problems is what shuts down porn production in the valley. Viral problems is how sepsis talks ish to the staph infection. I promise you don't want these viral problems in your life. You get viral problems after you click the link in that unfamiliar email message saying you've been awarded money for mesothelioma class action lawsuit, and now viral problems can be used in bank heist. Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. The only reason why I remember that is because of the lawsuit. I looked at that, we're like, the hell is that? And they said, I was like, oh, I know what that is now.
And then the poll is, do you currently work more than one job to make the ends meet? 19. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Karen.
Yes. And the thing is, because I'm just so accustomed to doing what we do sometimes, it's work, but it's like one of these things where you go, yeah, I'm actually in the group. Because you had to tell me, you was like, we both in this group.
Well, like, what's interesting, I would not say I'm in this group. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not doing it to make the ends meet.
No, I'm not either. Right. So that's why initially I was like, I don't think I'm in this group, but I work 2 jobs.
I've been in this group before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where it was like, not that I would do this, but like, I could technically be like, man, I'm coming home. I don't want to do game theory anymore. Y'all could keep the rest of this check. And I could go back to home and make a living off of our podcast, and we would be straight. So like, to me, that's different than when I was like getting off of work and then going to my other job. You know, and it was like, I'm gonna need this check on Friday. I'm gonna need the other check every other Friday, or rent is not gonna happen. That was different.
It might not be paid.
So yeah, I would say, we moved on up a little bit. But yeah,
we got jobs of convenience. So I'm blessed to be like, I am of the point where it's not like rent won't get paid.
Yeah, they making the ends meet a little better. That's all. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the poll, do you currently work more than one job to make the ends meet? 20% yes, 81% no. On Spotify, of course, 24% yes, 76% no.
Right, they got them good paying jobs. It was like one.
No, hold on. Listen to the math, Karen. Yes is higher.
So they got them hustlers. They was like, I got to get to the bag.
No, that's not what I think at all.
Oh, I'm the opposite. What am I not understanding?
No, you don't. It's not that you're not understanding. I'm just gonna let you finish, and then I was gonna say what I think happened.
Go ahead.
I think this is how the rich people, they spend more money. So like, we looking at it like, but these are the rich people on Spotify, and they like, yes, but I have a penthouse in the middle of Manhattan. So I gotta work these two jobs as an AR label executive and
Ah,
as a Tesla engineer. I have to work both of these jobs to afford, my penthouse apartment. I can't. This infinity pool not gonna pay for itself.
mm-mm.
Okay, the rest of y'all pools is infinity. Like they ended.
They got a limit.
My pool, my pool
My
is
pool ain't got no limits.
okay.
My my pool, them circles going around each other.
Yeah, my pool might as well have a tank on the front of it with some diamonds because it's got no limit. Okay. But yeah, the Q&A was looks like I flew the coop, Batman. The answers were Spotify, baby, we got money. Sandy says, I need this comic now. That's why Peacemaker's dad was a real when he was racist as hell. Oh yeah, racist viral love. The racist villain would be canceled immediately. I don't think
Immediately.
I think one issue of our comic book and it would be like these niggas not getting a part two.
No. Grand opening, grand closing. Shortest comic book of all time.
Right. I guess you're gonna throw me in prison with the rest of the blacks. At least I won't be the only one in a sickle cell, Batman.
Oh, no!
Like, he's racist and he's a bad person. Then like the Joker will be looking at him like, you racist. I can't believe.
I know.
I know I killed a whole school full of children with toxic poison that made them smile and laugh to death. But at least I didn't just pick them because it was the black side of town.
Right. They were like, you gonna put me in the black? Why? So I can die of BDs? No, sir. They look at that, no, sir. And they was like, we actually need to really lock you up. We need to we're gonna have to put you in the special wing by yourself for the blacks really get a hold of you.
Magnificent Breeze says, Gunny Guns. Batman, have you met my friend the Polio? He's the one over there with the pole. And hit him with the pole, Polio. Had me laughing out way too loud every single time. You guys are hilarious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Umonti says, Viral Load and his henchmen, the bivalent bastards. Also, watch Fire of Love, Disney, Magma, Bonnie and Clyde. It's a whole lava love. Fire of Love. What is that? Oh, it's a documentary. Wait, what? Okay. Scientists and lovers died in a volcanic explosion. Oh, this sounds terrible. No thanks. Eject.
I know.
I told you I just watched a depressing documentary about some motherfuckers dying in a volcano. I'm good. Good for the year, guys. Let's see. This looks like Al Son of Strong says his crew could be called the Specimen.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's so good. The Specimen, Viral Load and the Specimen. Okay, listen, we got some creative, funny ass listeners, and we appreciate y'all. Those are the comments on the website. Let me check to see if we have any voicemails before we move into the actual emails. And we do have a few voicemails. Let me play some transition music and we'll get into the damn, and I hit the wrong button. Oh wait, I still got that one song queued up. We'll just play this.
I'm ready to hear a beat slip and somebody start rapping over it. Talking about how they in Miami with all the bitches. Yeah. Oh. I'm in Miami with your bitches checking their things. Yes.
That's the other thing I don't like about inventing Anna is the amount of times that they make a scene as Anna pretending to be a businesswoman or a mover and shaker, and they just add like inspirational thought music underneath it. The first time, okay. The 17th time, it's not hitting the same.
You don't got tired of it?
It's just her in like a suit talking to four white men in suits, drinking expensive bottles of wine, and then the song underneath is just like, and all my bitches got bitches, and we getting the money, and the money with the bitches is coming, and it's like, okay, we get it. Hip hop is the money of music. We get it. She's a
Into the
scammer.
bag, yeah.
I'm over it. All right, let's get to these voicemails. 704-557-0186 is the voicemail line. Make them 2 minutes or less, or you get cut off.
Yeah, the white woman will boot you off. We don't control that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Sound like this person must have butt dialed us because I just hit play and I'm not hearing anything.
Oh.
And they left 3 messages in a row.
What's up, Rod and Karen?
Oh, here we go.
Dre again. I was listening to the podcast, and y'all were talking about COVID with that article with that bullshit ass headline. But anyway, I don't think y'all are weird for y'all's approach to COVID, but I do think there's a different mentality that some people have developed. Because, okay, so take myself, for example, I still work in the service industry. So when the lockdown ended, it's like the lockdown hadn't even ended when they were like, y'all niggas go back to work, though.
Right.
And there was no vaccine. So you masked up, you working in this place, you nervous as fuck all the time, you scared as shit. And over time, you kind of have to block that shit out because you need the money.
Right.
So the first vaccine comes out, I go grab it immediately. Like I lied, said I was a teacher, wasn't a teacher. I got in line early. I skipped some people. I needed it.
That's
but
right.
you know what I'm saying, get my first round or whatever, but then I go back to work and I'm working and working and working. And it's still kind of the same thing though. Like that same thing lingers over you where you have to be in this high exposure environment all the time. And to be on such high alert, like to be vigilant, like you say, it almost wears you down. And then you get almost resentful of watching other people not give a fuck about it all day long while you just over here dancing and slaving for the white man. You know, I'm a server too, so I'm over here literally serving people while they do this shit. And then it then becomes difficult to not do shit in your personal life. It's like, man, I'm risking my exposure for these other people, but then I'm limiting everything for everything that would be good for me. And it's not to say that it's good logic. It's still like
he got cut off. He left one more voicemail.
Okay.
And we'll play that and then we'll respond.
I knew that was gonna go over on this one, but whatever. The whole point is, it's not necessarily to say that all of this justifies not being vigilant and not getting updated on all your boosters and all these other things. It's just kind of to say all of it isn't necessarily rooted in, at least for me, I don't care about myself or other people, or I don't believe in all this other stuff, or I think the people who get the vaccine are weird, because that's actually not true at all. Anytime it comes to my mind, like, shit, I still haven't gotten boosted. I feel like I'm fucking up. I'm like, shit, like I need to go get that taken care of. But it's almost like I've trained my mind to be so almost apathetic to COVID in order as like a coping response almost, that it's almost hard to make it a priority in my mind like that, if that makes any sense. But with that being said, a whole bunch of people I know have been getting really sick and getting COVID again. I'm about to hurry up and go get my booster and quit fucking playing with myself. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that just hearing y'all side of it, I thought that it would be interesting to hear, you know what I'm saying, maybe for y'all to hear kind of the mentality of somebody who's not as on it, but like still believes in it and still cares as much about it. Anyway, I'm not going to cut off twice. Love y'all. Bye.
Go ahead, Karen.
I completely understand. 'Cause me and Roger both serve. And the thing is, in my perspective, listening to what you was talking about, it's that fight or flight. The brain cannot sit and fight or flight for long, extended periods of time. It fucks with you. And like you said, you're going to work every day. You're dealing with this fight or flight is on 100. Like it is popping all of the time. And it'll weigh you down. Those hormones and things press through your body. It fucks with your brain. Like it really messes people up. And so after a while, you've got to get out of that flight mode. And so, like you said, that's when it turns to, okay, I have to learn how to function in this by necessity. Same thing with you and the teachers and the nurses and things like that. They was like, y'all gonna get out here and just gonna have to deal with it. And they, a lot of times, they know that people are in a position where they have to deal with it. For people that were privileged enough to be like, nah, fuck that. A lot of them left, switched, whatever they had to do, because for some people they was like, I don't have to do this. And the thing is, like you say, the mind can psych itself into thinking things are not as important as they really are. And we can, quote unquote, create our own reality just as a coping mechanism. And sometimes that's not safe and that's not always healthy. But like you say, it's one of those things where you go, yeah, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. And like everything else, for a lot of people, they always, and I've done this too. Everybody thinks they're an exception to the rule until you're not. And so, it's one of those things where I'm glad that you was like, you know what? I need to quit fucking around and I need to get my booster. Right. Because everybody thinks it's always going to happen to somebody else. They never think that it's going to happen to me until it does.
We covered a story early in the pandemic from Chicago. I'll never forget it because it was a bunch of young kids going out and they were having parties and they were breaking curfew, and it was before we had a vaccine, and the adults in Chicago were mad, and they were almost all black and brown kids, and people were like, those people are going to get their family sick. And those and they were going to get their family sick. Some of them probably lost people because of that decision. But I remember when we covered that story, I said, what I see is also people that are probably working the front line. Yes. And if they can't, if society is saying you can't stay home from bagging groceries, you can't stay home from working in food service industry, we don't even have a vaccine, we got these masks, but we're, like, basically, why the fuck would I stay inside? So when I'm making this money for Kroger, my life is just as much at risk, and I'm having no fun, and I'm getting paid minimum wage. But then when I go to a party for myself and hang out with my folks, like, hey, it is what it is. Like, I'm just like, to them, in their mind, it was like, I'm in for a penny and for a pound. So I think that's the mentality a lot of people had, and yeah, people have numbed out to it. And during that segment, we didn't say people were Republican or people were conservative or people were anti-vax. I just said it's a shame that the numbers for the booster have gone down so much, because it just shows you how lax people have gotten. And the boosters are so good. When we read those numbers down, it's almost insane to not think to yourself, wait, like that title of that article was terrible. And it's shit like that that's keeping people from getting the boosters, by the way, is because the title of the article is terrible. And then you read the fucking headline, it's like, you have a 13 times less likely chance of going to the hospital, a blank amount of times less likely of dying, a blank amount of times less likely of long COVID. Why the fuck didn't you lead with that? Why isn't that the only message about the boosters? There doesn't need to be another message competing with and the more people died that was vaccinated. That's not scaring people or informing people. You're hoping to scare them, but you're actually making them apathetic. So yeah, I'm with you on all that shit. I don't think we disagree at all. All right, next voicemail is from Katrina.
Hi, my lovelies. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Just been listening to y'all the New Year's Eve show, and now I'm sort of halfway through the next episode. Hope you are both well. And I tried to leave a message on Spotify, but it was not having it. So I said, I'm just going to call in and say what happened. So you know that I live in the UK right now, and I wanted to answer about the hush trip thing And I was like, wait, I took one of those, but it wasn't a hush trip at all because I said it was my whole chest to my university. I let them know last June that I was going to be in France the entire month, that I was going to be working remotely the first half, and then I officially put in for, holiday time for the last 2 weeks. Now, why did I get COVID for the first time? Like literally days after being there, I must have caught it like right before we left. And thankfully we had a cabin to ourselves on the what is that thing called? The thing on the sea. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, ferry, right? And we drove the rest of the way, so we weren't around people. So thankfully that didn't happen. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I was sick. I didn't know I had COVID at the time.
Right.
And I was grading papers on the balcony. We had a beachside apartment for the month, and it worked out better financially to take it for a month rather than 2 weeks. So I was like, I'm not teaching anymore in classes. They're over. I have a laptop. We log into a remote portal. What does it matter where I am when I grade these papers? And we still have Teams meetings. So it just made sense to me. And no one really had a problem with it. But there's a better attitude over here towards, taking vacation.
And then I guess she cut off, but then she didn't call back because I think she had made her point. But yeah, she took one of them hush trips and she seemed fine.
One of them said with your chest trips.
I'm sorry, Karen, what?
She did one of them said with your chest trips. She wouldn't hush.
Took a loud trip. The next one is Miss Crystal.
It's Miss Crystal, and that's how I was screaming when Jason Lester of the Left gave y'all shout outs. I was like, it's a spoonful of sugar. I'm like, yeah, spoonful of sugar grits. I love it. So happy for y'all. Riding me up when you ready to hang out outside in the city. I think, maybe going to museums from K95, or a comedy show from K95 would be safe. So just let me know. Karen, don't have too many parties at the house. I already know, because you an extrovert. You're having parties, having summer parties, all that stuff at the house. So, keep things tight, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
She's so funny. We'll see what we do during the week when Karen's here and stuff. I mean, there's stuff to do in the city, but like I said, I'm gonna be working, so it's not like I have the week off. Last time I had the week off when Karen was here, I was just planning shit, every day. Like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But this time, between work and just life stuff, it'll probably be a lot more low key. But yeah, I'll take everything under advisement, And then lastly, Jen from Brooklyn sent us two voicemails.
Hi, Rod and Karen. Good morning. Happy New Year. Hope you're both well. This is Jen from North Carolina, living in LA, but I lived in New York for about 10 years. So I'm loving all of the New York updates, especially the heater debacle. It's just like a rite of passage to deal with the clicking and clanking of a heater in the winter when it starts to kick up, and also the one temperature for the whole building is just like something you all have to go through. Yeah, and I'm cold natured, so I always loved that the heat was cranked, but even I had to crack a window, so I love the updates. It's so funny, and I hope that you're staying cool out there. And then I'm late to this party, but I've been meaning to call y'all for a while to talk about some of the emotional labor stuff that y'all had chatted about, because just before you had that conversation, I ended up having a kind of intense conversation with a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, who has a lot of chronic pain and depression and just issues with like family and dating and life in general. And it was getting to be a lot. And it wasn't that the relationship was necessarily unbalanced, but it just became a lot in terms of I couldn't be that one person for her. And And right before y'all had that chat on your show, I talked to her and I just kind of set that boundary. So when you mentioned that you set a boundary, that kind of affirmed, like, if you're dealing with this situation with a friend, you have to set that boundary. So I really appreciated that conversation. I think I'm going to get cut off, but I'm going to call back because I've been meaning to call y'all for a minute about this.
All right.
Aw.
I'll play the next one, but that's dope that you were able to set that boundary. And honestly, it's that communication that is the toughest part of the relationship, but it's the only part of the relationship that's truly valuable. Correct. Is being able to communicate something like that, or else you're really not friends. And if they're understanding of it, they'll see that you're doing this, so you won't start feeling that resentment and that, okay, here they call again. Oh my God. Like, so you won't feel that, because once that feeling kicks in, it's hard to salvage a relationship when all you're thinking about is how much you don't really want to talk to this person anymore.
Right.
Next voicemail. I'm sorry. We'll finish her off.
Hey, it's Jen in LA again. I just wanted to say thank you for having that conversation about what emotional labor may mean, what it's not, that friendship should not feel like emotional labor. It was definitely a tough conversation that I had with that friend, but I think that eventually, we'll be better for it. And I really was truly scared to set that boundary, but I was creating this resentment from our friendship because I just felt like I was doing the work of a therapist or, even like a doctor at certain times with just like, trying to give advice, but then not necessarily having that advice received in terms of recommending medication or therapy and
or whatever else needs. Right.
Down. So that's one instance when I thought of a friendship or relationship being emotional labor, but really it was on me to set the boundary of, hey, this isn't always, I don't always have space for this. If we can figure out a way that we can like make space for this at certain times, but not necessarily all the time. So I really appreciated that conversation. I know I'm late to the party. I'm not sure when y'all will have a feedback show again, because I know you're both busy in your separate states, but I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and Happy New Year. Bye.
Oh, Happy New Year. Oh.
The other thing I'll say too is when you start feeling that level of like resentment and whatever else, the way I get out of it is I actually email them an invoice for the emotional labor. And then once they get the emotional labor invoice, and my rates are pretty high, they're not reasonable at all. Normally that they'll hit me.
I'm not qualified for the job.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not gonna be your therapist, okay? But no, seriously. One of the things a lot of times people need is like a therapist, like someone they pay to hear that, because my hope would be that a lot of times people don't want to be resented. I don't want people to feel like I'm work to talk to.
Right.
Also, a lot of people's shit is just like undiagnosed or untreated depression, anxiety, things that they really should be working on outside of like a friend, you know what I'm saying? Because also your friends aren't always going to be able to, they haven't dealt with this, they're not always going to have the right answer. And one of the scariest things for me was seeing it on social media, and it was like a switch flipped. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. But the narcissism of depression and anxiety that it comes along with it. I'm not saying people are narcissists, like not technically. I'm saying the narcissism of those conditions where your brain is telling you things that aren't true. Anxiety is a liar. Depression is a liar. And it's telling you stuff like no one cares about you. And then you see someone put that on their social media, like, and it's so manipulative. And I don't even get mad at them. I think it's the brain chemistry telling them this is a truth and when it's a lie. But it's like, y'all always say check on your strong friends, but nobody checking on me. Fam, that's a cry for help. you need to talk to a therapist. You need to talk to a psychiatrist, someone professionally. Because if your brain is saying that to you, that no one cares about you, that that you need to put out this passive aggressive thing so you can get likes and attention and replies, and you can get those what do you call those? What do you call it when somebody is saying something bad about themselves so they can get compliments? I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
I don't know the word for it, but yeah.
but yeah, if you saying that so that you can get like the response of like, no, I do care about you.
Yeah, and it's a dopamine to that. That's why I said
Yeah.
a lot of people are it's an addiction, and even in sadness and depression and all that stuff, because
Even
it's a
when you say,
dopamine hit.
even when you see people say shit like, I'm feeling sad. Everybody send me pictures of their pets. That is the fact that it's happening in that medium in that way, and that's not really any level of like actual it's not really any level of actual work or therapy or healing or anything. It's like I just need to see people react to me and to know what they're doing or whatever. And I think I think we haven't thought enough about what does that really mean. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Mhm.
like you need pictures of people's kids, you probably also need to talk to like a therapist for real. Like if you just have friends and all you want to do is like talk to them about how much pain you're in and how much you have to also understand that they might not have the space for that. And it's also very inconsiderate of the fact that other people have their stuff that they're working through too. The world don't revolve around you. So while you're thinking I can call this person and vent to them all the time, that person might be going through their own levels of depression and anxiety or whatever the fuck. And they may be dealing with it differently than you are. They may be trying, they may need to establish a boundary so that they're not dragged down into that shit with you. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of moving parts, and it's deeper than what people say. So setting a
Yeah.
boundary to me is always a gift for you and for the other person, because that means you're giving them honesty. You're trusting them with communication and respect. And if they violate that boundary, then that's a whole different set of problems that you got to have. But there's nothing wrong with setting the boundary.
Right. And also, I think, how can I say this? For a lot of people, they hear about therapy and it's the quote unquote the fad, if that makes sense, even though therapy is a real thing and people actually, do work through it and do get true healing. But for some people, it's a quote unquote fad. So people use their friends as a form of therapy instead of getting the help they need. Your friends may not be qualified nor trained in this. So you're dumping information on them that they're processing through that they really might not be able to help you. But we've been taught that friends are quote unquote supposed to help you through everything. That's not a true thing. There are some shit that you got to pick up on your own, put your big, to pick up on your own, put on your grown people pants and figure that shit out. And sometimes that means figuring out without your friends. And people don't want to do it, and they don't really understand that there are some things in life that you're going to have to figure out separate from them. And it's okay to have people to talk to. It's okay to have people to walk through things with, like that. That's what friendships are. But there are some things your people around you does not have the capability of handling.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't know.
Right.
And a therapist at least is paid to know or have some techniques or something. And we really do this thing where we make people try to be the missing puzzle piece for everybody. And if you're not, then you're not a good friend. You're not the Sometimes a good friend is the person to be like, I'm not the one to handle this. Like it's like if you have a homie that's constantly calling you to tell you how much him and his wife ain't getting along. At some point, it's like y'all should either talk to a marriage counselor or each other.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like sometimes being a friend is being the one to pull the plug and be like, this is beyond me, And a lot of times the reason a friend can't be the shoulder to lean on is because a lot of times people measure friendship very arbitrarily, and they measure support arbitrarily. I know I'm not the person to be friends with many people because many people measure loyalty on some like get down or lay down shit.
Right.
You know, if I call you and say my wife is a bitch, you better say, hell yeah, man, she a bitch. I agree. You know, and I'm not that guy. I'm the one to be like, I don't know about that, bro. You know what I mean?
Y'all might need to work that out, right?
Yeah, like, so I'm not the one to call where you're like, I'm dead wrong and I don't want you to say nothing or I'm gonna call you a bad person.
I'm not that.
You know what I
either.
mean? I'm just not the one, and it doesn't mean you can't have those people, but
Right.
I'm not the one for that shit. So it's just different roles for different people, and no, I don't have all the answers, and me telling you got to go find somebody else is helping you find the real people that might be able to help your ass
and actually get to the root of the problem, because you're talking to me and it may stem from some other shit that I am unaware of, and you need to, pay somebody or find resources, your insurance company and things like that, or whatever it takes to find people that can actually help and are trained to get to the root of the problem.
And I've seen not just therapy work, but just like self-improvement, people reading more, people are learning boundaries. I've seen people make drastic changes in their lives where you just look up one day and you go, oh, okay, that person's not just online talking about how terrible life is every day.
Right.
Because here's the thing, and I'll move on from this. This is the last thing I'll say about it. You can look at people's presence online a lot of times, and I'm not a fucking psychologist, therapist, but you can just look, especially if you've been where they are, and go, that person's dealing with depression or anger or some resentment, but they don't even know it. They don't think to themselves, I'm posting X amount of times a day and the content of this is mostly negative. It's all about just my problems and this, that, and that. You might want to talk to somebody professionally. Like, you might want to take account of just like the cycles your life is in, because you're not happy and you're not gonna find happy here, because happy don't live on social media, really.
No, it does not.
You know, like one thing you would see people say, and people would say it all the time, and I never related to it, but then I realized it's kind of like a cry for help. They go, yeah, I had to get off of Instagram because you just see people on there and they're like getting married and they're getting a house and getting a job, and it just makes you so mad and resentful, and I just don't like that. And I said,
that's something within you.
It don't make me mad or resentful, and it never has.
Me either. I'm happy
Not
for
once.
you. You're gonna get a heart from me.
Like, even it don't, like, and I'm not just talking about romantic shit. Like, even if it was like when I had a shitty job, if one of my homies got a dope job, nothing inside of me was like, fuck, what am I doing with my life? Right. That's some internal shit. You got to go talk to a professional. If you putting that kind of pressure on yourself where like someone else gets an opportunity that you wanted, and now you like, I can't even fucking be happy for my homie, dog, that is saying something is going on internally. And it's not that it's a feeling no one else has, or it's a bad feeling, wrong feeling, but it's a feeling that you have that is coming out because there's somewhere inside of you that's not being addressed. And so, while your friends can be the person you can maybe reveal that to, they're not going to be the person that normally tells you like, hey, but you should do these type of exercises to like work on that so that you don't feel that way every time you see somebody get something, because that's not healthy. It's going to lead to a huge gaping hole of resentment in you all the time. Like, you need to talk to somebody different than just the people that want you to like them, So, all right. That's the last voicemail. We didn't get any emails this week. So, Karen, what was in the mailbox?
Any emails? Dang.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, we don't want to talk to y'all about nothing.
But they wrote a bunch of comments. I mean, let's not knock them, Karen.
Oh, that's true. Carithia.
Mm-hmm.
We got
Carithia.
Sorry.
No problem. Oh, she gave us a holiday card with her and her husband.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Craig.
Oh
I've never met. I don't think I've ever met or talked to Craig, but I feel like
no, we know he exists through the
on social
pictures.
media, I feel like I know him. You know.
Yeah, we know he exists. If it wasn't for her posting the pictures, I'd have been like, he ain't real.
Shout out the professor.
Yes.
Her and the Fenty practice.
Come on. Professionals. May 2023 be incredibly good to you and yours. And thank you for letting us witness some of your remarkable journey. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I got some more cards to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
I be loving the cards, y'all. This is from Mary.
Cool.
And our fans keep the mahogany people in business.
Season greeting, little black girl, dog next to her.
Y'all love it. And we do too. We love mahogany too.
I'm more of an ebony man than a mahogany man, but it's not.
Did a mahogany. Rod and Karen, wishing you a blessed holiday season. Thank you for all. Okay, this is in cursive, so please forgive me. Hold on.
So now you gotta go through context clues. Y'all see, the cursive it's not doing what y'all think it's doing.
Thank you for all the entertainment throughout the year. You truly make my year better. Sincerely, Mary.
Aww.
A tipper from Cali. Thank you. And I'm sorry if I jacked it up, baby.
No, it's not. Don't apologize. It's her. She flew too close to the sun. It's her fault for writing in cursive, trying to be fancy, trying to stun on us. But how you gonna stun on me if I can't even read it? I don't know what you're talking about.
And we are the last of a dying breed that I can actually read cursive.
Not really. You was struggling. It all look like risotto to me.
I can get through most of it. This is from the Cannon family.
Oh shit! I know it's a big ass family. You know, Cannon got a bunch of them. Oh, look at the babies. The Christmas outfits.
Oh, I love this. Girl, you got a black Cabbage Patch doll. Let's go. I'm sorry. Oh, happy holidays. Oh, hi, Rod and Karen. So let me explain. This photo shoot started out as a joke. I do wacky things like this on a regular to make my friends and family laugh. But then I got an idea to take it up a notch. I usually receive I've usually received a bounty of cards during the holiday seasons. And I've never been a big fan of Christmas cards. Yeah, I used to be the eternal Grinch. Oh, you was the Grinch, baby. The past 3 years in this Ponderosa, it's the same thing, baby. We get it. Has taught me to be merry for the present, as it is truly a gift. Thank you for both being internally grateful. I'm an internal part of my listening. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for being an integral part of my daily listening life. I think I created a monster all from these cards. I can't wait to see. She called about the baby doll Trixie Faye. Trixie Faye, my 38-year-old daughter, and I going to be next year. Oh, all the best for the remainder of 2022 and beyond. Your future is so bright with my eyes. Your future is so bright. My eyes are blinded. Oh, Christmas 2022, K-Can. Oh,
thank you, K-Can.
Cabbage Patch doll. Oh, I'm glad you're not no Grinch no more. And honey, I thank you for putting us on the list. And that was it.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you everybody for the presents and the cards and the comments and the 5-star reviews, especially. We really appreciate y'all. Once again, gonna be another touch and go week. This time I'll have a 5-day work week. So we'll see how it goes. We may get to all 5 episodes, we may not. But it'll be all right either way. We'll probably do an episode tomorrow for sure. And yeah, that's it, man. Happy podcast anniversary, baby. 13 years
happy
down.
Podcast anniversary. 13 years down.
Yeah. And to the rest of y'all, we'll see y'all soon. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Bye, everyone. Bye.